All right, day 15, let's get it. I want you to take your camera and you're going to turn that little wheel, the modes, until you are in A or AV. A or AV stands for aperture priority. We're gonna work in that mode for the whole day, okay? So it's very important that you set it correctly, and then you're gonna turn on your camera and you're going to dial down the f-stop number with that little wheel all the way to the bottom, meaning to the lowest number possible. It will depend on your lens. It's usually written here like 2.8, 16, which means the minimum of f2.8. This one is a f1.8. This one is a f1.8. That's a f1.8. That's 2.8. And there are also, for example, 3.5, 5.6. It depends on your gear. I want you to dial it down to the minimum possible, the smallest f-stop possible. And your mission, if you accept it for today, is going to go spend the day taking photos at the minimum f-stop possible. I want you to start taking photos that are very close to you, meaning from objects very close, and I want you to take photos of objects that are obviously further from you. It doesn't matter what kind of lens you're using, use the lens that you have with you and try not to change a lens if you can, and always keep the same aperture. But if you have a second lens that can open to the same aperture, try to use that lens and compare how it works. For example, if you have a 50mm and you shoot at 1.8, how does it compare to, for example, 18mm at 1.8 or 18mm at f4 versus 50mm at f4? That could be an interesting comparison for you to practice today. Looking at your photos, I want you to write down what happened to the depth of field in your image. Do you feel like there was a lot of depth of field, meaning everything was in focus, or just one part, like one small part of the image was in focus? Second, what happened to your ISO? Your ISO were in auto, remember? So try to look at the settings when you were taking those photos and see if your ISO were high or if they were low. And last but not least, what kind of feeling do you get out of those images? Like, is it easy for you to see your subject, or is it a little bit more difficult? Try to think about all that throughout the day. Do those exercises. They're very important. They're broken down in a very specific way. And don't worry, we're going to recap everything about every setting a little bit further down the line. But for now, you only have one goal: shoot at the lowest f-stop possible, have fun, and observe what is happening with your camera. Good luck!